So, have you ever heard the term free range parenting? Well, you're about to learn a little bit more about it and why it's a brand new law in Utah. Hey, everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of The Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Well, over the last couple of years, you've probably heard some different stories about parents who have let their kids do awful things like go to a park all by themselves or maybe walk to school all by themselves, and parents have actually gotten in trouble because of these activities, because you have other either parents or other adults who see these poor 10-year-olds walking to school by themselves or walking to the park by themselves, and they freak out and they think the parents are just abandoning the children and letting the kids do whatever they want to do. Well, a parent in Utah actually came up with a new term, and they call it free-range parenting. Basically, her 9-year-old wanted to ride a subway one day back home, and she let them do it, and people freaked out about it. And she wrote a book about free-range parenting, which used to just be called parenting and letting your kids go around and do stuff. Now, whether you want your 9-year-old to ride a subway or not, I don't know. But in Utah, they actually just passed a brand new law that allows for free-range parenting. Here's what it says. The measure was sponsored by Utah State Senator, Republican Lincoln Fillmore, exempts from the definition of child neglect various activities that children can do without supervision, permitting a child whose, quote, basic needs are met and who is of sufficient age and maturity to avoid harm or unreasonable risk of harm to engage in independent activities. So you may wonder, what do those activities mean? Well, those activities include letting children walk, run, or bike to and from school, travel to commercial or recreational facilities, play outside. Yeah, just playing outside. Now you're exempt, parents. It's okay. You can allow your kids to play outside and remain home unattended. The law does not say what a sufficient age is. Well, it probably varies from kid to kid. I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I know I was probably in junior high, maybe a little bit younger than junior high. And my parents used to go to a restaurant that was down the street from them. And, as kids do, you get bored when you're with mom and dad. We used to get bored with mom and dad because we didn't have iPads and iPhones and everything else. Now the kids can just watch movies. But when I was a kid, you didn't have any of that. And so I got bored. And what did I want to do? I wanted to walk home. And so I just walked home. And of course, there were busy streets and everything, but my parents trusted me that I could make it. I wasn't a precious snowflake, that I could make it from point A to B and everything would be okay. That's how it used to be, actually. It's kind of sad that we have to have a new law that says you're not an abusive parent if you allow your kids to go to the park that's just a few streets away. You're not an abusive parent if you let your kids play out in, the cul-de-sac down the street. I remember when we were kids, we would go off and we would hang out with other neighborhood kids. It wasn't just, kids on your street that you would play with. It was neighborhood kids. You'd go off. You had an expectation. Your mom always had an expectation of what time you'd be home, and you'd get home. And no one thought anything of it. But I guess, sadly, in 2018, we have to have a new law in the books that says it's perfectly fine for a kid who is of a reasonable age. So, basically, if you're a 2-year-old, you can't walk to the park. But if you're a 9-year-old and the park is just down the street, that's perfectly fine. But sadly, we have to have a new law because instead of, everyone looking out for each other's kids and neighbors looking out for each other's kids, we want to get parents in trouble, and we want to say that parents are abusive. Sadly, this shouldn't have to be a law that was actually passed, but I guess in 2018, we have to have it. Free-range parenting, or as it used to just be called, kids being kids and having fun outside. No wonder kids just stay indoors. They don't want to get their parents in too much trouble, I guess. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Have a great day.